morning.
GCES.
Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you both back with us. That was very nice.
Yeah, right? In unison. We've been practicing.
I don't know who was supposed to have harmony, but you both sang melody there.
Yeah.
But here we go. I got a listener question for you.
Perfect.
This listener wants to know, what are the protections that I can put in place? What are the typical things people do? Because married couples, one of them dies before the other one does. How do we protect our retirement investments? How do we set that up? They had no idea how to set that up, and they said, we obviously want to have the greatest amount of flexibility that we can with our retirement savings. One of us is going to die first, and that'll leave the other one on their own.
So the first thing I'd say, on a very simple, easy level, the one thing that you want to do, typically in a household, someone controls all of the finances and the retirement stuff. There's very rarely a household that both of them control different parts of the retirement. Do you know what I mean? Like, granted, the benefits and healthcare might be under one person, and that may or may not be the person that's controlling everything and taking care of everything. So the first thing we would honestly say is to start a log, even if it's just a paper, of all of the accounts and things that you have that go into your retirement, what phone number to call for Social Security, where your investments are, what life insurance plans you have, where they're at, what phone numbers to call. And most importantly, we do this with our clients. We put Galen's name at the top because he should really be your first call after someone does pass away. Because it's happened with us before where we have a client that I think we lost our camera.
Hey, Matt or Josh, you can come up and fix this camera that just fell down to the floor.
So the first thing would really be to get a log of all that and put Galen's number at the top, because that's usually where people's first call when something like this happens. So it's definitely something you want to prepare for, but Galen definitely knows the other things to do that are more technical.
Yeah, I mean, well, you were right on point. I mean, first, the medical insurance. A lot of times families have to figure out, if you're before Medicare age, where to go with medical insurance. And that's a big question. Like federal employees, you have to be on the plan for 5 years before you retire to vest it over, to bring it over so your spouse can have it. But you also have to have your spousal benefit. You have to elect that for your spouse to continue to keep that coverage. So one of the main questions I have, even though I don't focus mainly on health insurance, is the health insurance question. What are you going to do if something happens to each other? Because health insurance is huge when it comes to retirement, because if a party passes away, you have to know what you're going to do with your coverage. Okay. So the health insurance is going to affect your financial stuff. Kind of like what Clint said about put my name on top, the financial advisor. My name is pretty much going to be stamped on all of your paperwork. So if you are a spouse or your spouse passes away and you work with me and you don't know who to call for some reason, because I tell everybody to call me, my name would be right on top of the paperwork, Galen Barterstock, Financial Advisor. Just give us a call, and then we take care from there. Or whoever your spouse's financial advisor was. But at the end of the day, I say anybody can call us if something happens, and we can help you figure it out along the way.
Do those retirement different points, because probably there's a whole lot that goes into it. Do they differ from state to state?
They do differ from state to state. Like if you have a state pension plan, every state pension plan is a little bit different in how their operation will work. Taxation is different on states, for state benefits and stuff like that, or state taxes, I should say. So yeah, it's different for every state you live in. So it's important to know, the facts of where you live or where you plan on moving into retirement, of what's going to happen when you move.
And since the GCES is now beyond just government retirement, those same basic rules apply.
Same rules apply. Yeah, I'm asking the same questions when I have an appointment with, how is your health insurance working into retirement? Because that is a huge one for me, is the health insurance, because that will trickle down and create a lot of problems. Because if you don't have the correct health insurance, of course, you're going to lose your money from your investments, because you're going to be funding more money into your, health care versus your, funds to live.
Yeah. What about Social Security? How does that work?
Social Security, you're going to get higher of the two when somebody passes away. So, that's something that, depending on what stage of life I'm meeting a person at, we might consider a Social Security strategy where if a person passes, you're going to have the highest Social Security because you let that spouse's grow. And I throw that out there But a lot of times I'm not actually recommending somebody to let their Social Security grow when the situation presents it to me. So a lot of people have that question about Social Security, what's going to happen, and I don't know until I know what your pension is, how much you have in your savings account, how many CDs you have at the bank. I really do need the big picture in order to tell somebody the truth.
Yeah.
But you're saying, I'm sorry, I'm curious too.
So you're
sorry,
asking-
I'm good job of fixing the camera.
It's the same
It's
questions
on
I was gonna
application
ask.
while I'm here. So if you're, let's say that if someone's considerably younger, I just want to go back to this. If someone's considerably younger,
Yeah.
you're saying like, let's say that they're just able to collect Social Security, but their spouse is, let's say, considerably older in their 80s. You would want to let that younger person not collect Social Security as long as possible,
Well, I mean-
so that they get a higher payment
Yeah.
compared to the other person.
Yeah, but what you're presenting to me is somebody in their 80s that is already collecting Social Security, so
Yeah.
it's already not a real scenario because they have to start collecting that by 70. So,
No,
I mean,
no, let's say that they did collect it in their 70s and they've been collecting it for 12
Yeah.
years now, and
Yeah.
you would want the younger persons to get higher because they're probably going to outlive that older person
yeah.
in order for them to later collect their higher level Social Security.
And that's the hard case scenario because I can't ever answer that question because I don't know how much that person's making. So theoretically, I can't even imagine how to think about that in my head
Yeah.
with a 58-year gap of what's going to be more without knowing what their job is or something.
And
No,
so
that's
what you're
impossible.
doing, what you're doing is you're pointing out the fact that every case is
Completely
individual.
different. Yes.
And so that's why you actually need to sit down
Yeah.
and really break it down because that's what you do.
Yeah, Clinton loves to come in at me at mathematical questions.
Yeah,
just to
I do
trick
it all
me
the
up.
time on the TV show. Let's say if it's $1,000 for sake of it being simple, and it never goes good in my favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not great at mental math. Yeah.
All right, well, that's a question I think that we could probably, and that'll probably generate more people asking questions, but we could probably talk about that one in future segments as well. I did want to ask though, where you guys have been for the last week, what month, what have you been doing?
Yeah, so luckily, I mean, you guys had something with the Penguins Pirates,
The Pirates broadcast.
Pirates
Yeah.
broadcast. So when that came across, we were like, hey, let's take a month off. It's early to come in here every month. I don't know how you do it. You must like go to sleep at 7 o'clock at night because coming in here every Monday morning at 8:10, and we're dressed for the gym. Anybody that's watching on Facebook can tell we're about to go to the gym. But it was nice to have a little break, to have every other Monday morning back to ourselves. But we finished up the United Way campaign, which was exciting. I'm excited that was successful and over with also at the same time, and it's time to get back to work. We're planning a lot of great stuff for this year. We just started season 2 of our TV show. So we just finished the first 6 episodes of season 2. Those are available on YouTube. And you guys are even posting them now on your website, right?
You're asking me?
I think so.
I'm
I think
pretty
it's
sure,
happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would not ask me.
Yeah, so
that's the
I'm
question.
pretty sure as they air, I'm pretty sure you guys are going to be posting our TV shows on your website. You can also watch it on YouTube too if the episode has already came out. But we just did an episode about Bitcoin that got a really good response. People are really curious about Bitcoin right now.
That surprises me.
Yeah.
That people are curious about it because I would think that when it, had its difficulties early, that many people would have tuned it out and said, that's not something I want to get involved with ever.
Yeah. Well, our new advisor, Levi, he's a financial advisor for us. And I don't want to say this, but he's a lot younger than us. Like in his 20s. So we're trying to get him to grow out a beard and look older so that people trust him. But he talks about Bitcoin a lot. He knows about Bitcoin. And he is an example of why people are interested, I think, because he's made a ton of money at Bitcoin, doing it himself at like 24 years old. And now we have people that are interested in doing it because they've seen how much money he's made just playing around with it. So we've seen people now adding maybe 10, 20% of their retirement funds into the Bitcoin market to try to capitalize on the money that everyone's been making.
So that's some of what you've been doing.
Yeah, that's just a little bit.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I turned 41. That was exciting. Yeah.
For you.
Yeah, it was. It was pretty good.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you drove past our office, we had a billboard up for like 20 days before I actually turned 41. So I got to get some happy birthday messages. I didn't even know that the billboard was up yet, and people were telling me happy birthday.
Well, tomorrow is tax day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And people, obviously, they're thinking finances right now. And they're probably thinking protecting themselves financially with retirement savings. And what can I do now to ease my tax burden now? And then project that down into the future for my retirement years. So this is probably not for this year's taxes, they're due tomorrow, but Galen, people, that's something that is one of the considerations that they make when they're thinking about retirement.
Yeah, I mean, we don't have time machines right now, so you can't go back. I think you could probably get an extension, but I'm not a CPA. But I mean, generally, you just want to know the rules on investing and how much you can invest into certain types of accounts. How much can you invest into your 401k? Do you have an outside Roth IRA? Do you have an outside IRA? And what's the amounts that you can invest in? Have you reached an age, which is 55? In 401ks where you can enter in more money and do catch-ups where you can put in more than the minimum amount, or if you're over 50 you can add in an extra $1,000 to your IRAs and Roth IRAs. So just general information like that. I always tell everybody now is the correct time to start, so even if you miss this tax season, still have a review done now, and then we can prep you and you have an entire year to prepare for the tax time of the following year. So
you also have to think too, we're already 4 months into this year, so you've already missed a quarter of this year if you're planning to make changes for next year's taxes. So, call sooner rather than later. Which one? It's a Roth that you pay the taxes now, right?
correct.
So a Roth account would really be the way that you protect from the future taxes, because you pay the taxes now when you put the money in there, rather than paying the taxes when you take it out. So if someone's really concerned about taxes increasing, which I don't know, they haven't really seemed to go down at all, you would want to put your money into a Roth IRA versus a regular IRA. That's where you pay the taxes up front.
Maybe, allegedly, is
Yeah.
what I would say. Because, again, that's not right for everybody. In most of the cases for retirement, if people aren't prepared for retirement, by switching into a Roth IRA in the last 5 years, it's going to hurt you more than it's going to help you. So there's a lot of stuff that I would say definitely talk to somebody that's licensed to have an appointment and guide you.
All right, so we want to make that appointment with GCES. What do we have to do?
Yeah, give us a call, 724-915-0000 is our main number, or you can call 724-915-0005 to get directly with Lorraine. She's the one that can help you set up an appointment. And also, too, everyone's finances are like snowflakes. I feel like we should use that reference more often. Yeah, everyone's finances are different.
Or thumbprints.
Yeah.
It's like a
thumbprints.
thumbprint.
Oh, you're in like fitting snowflakes, they melt.
Yeah,
that would
yeah.
not be a good analogy.
But they would be liquid then.
All right, we're out of control.
Right?
Yeah.
Thank you,
so
boys.
much.
We appreciate it.
Have a great week.
GCES. It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM, AM 1160, and WCCSradio.com. Thank you, boys.
Thank you. Are we in for the next one?
Do you want to do the 12th, and then the 26th is Memorial Day? Do you